Ready for a deep dive into the world of Saturday Night Live? It's turning 50. This show, it's practically woven into American comedy.
It really is.
To celebrate this huge milestone, we're going to look behind the scenes with an article all about the 50th anniversary concert.
Oh, wow.
And a Reddit thread where fans are going crazy over the schedule of events.
I love hearing what the fans are saying. It gives you a real feel for the impact something like this has.
Right. So today, we're going deep into the legacy of SNL, the sheer scale of this anniversary celebration, and how it's resonating with fans. First things first, the concert, right? SNL 50, the homecoming concert at Radio City Music Hall. This lineup is insane. Cher, Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, Snoop Dogg, and those are just a few.
Seriously, that lineup isn't just big, it's like a testament to the influence SNL has had across musical genres over 5 decades.
I mean, Cher to Snoop Dogg on the same stage.
Yeah.
Shows their range.
Yeah, for sure.
But speaking of the concert, I've seen some buzz on Reddit. Some fans are a little worried about it streaming exclusively on Peacock. Not everyone has access to that, so it kind of creates a barrier.
Yeah, that's a good point. It raises questions about inclusivity and who gets to be a part of these celebrations. Hopefully, maybe they'll think about other ways to make it accessible.
That would be great. Fingers crossed.
Oh.
But even if you can't see the concert, the Reddit thread, it's got a whole schedule of anniversary events.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of specials, including SNL 50, the anniversary special airing live from Studio 8H.
It sounds like they're going all out for this one.
Yeah, they are. And all this talk about music, it makes me think about SNL's impact on music over the years. It's something Questlove really gets into in his documentary, Ladies and Gentlemen, 50 Years of SNL Music.
Oh, yeah, Questlove's documentary.
Right. He has this really interesting point in the documentary. He talks about how watching SNL gave him a musical education. You know, like something he wouldn't have gotten otherwise. He specifically mentioned seeing David Bowie's performance in 1979.
Oh, wow.
Where Bowie debuted this radical new look and sound. It was a turning point for Questlove.
Yeah, I can still picture that performance.
Me too. It's incredible how SNL has been this platform for musical discovery, offering these unique collaborations and pairings you wouldn't see anywhere else.
It really has.
Right. Like, think about all the times established musicians used SNL to debut a new sound, or even experiment with their image. Like when Miley Cyrus shed her Disney image on that stage. Those moments are unforgettable.
Yeah, you're right, they are.
But beyond the music and the comedy, SNL has had a huge cultural impact. Think about all those catchphrases and characters that have become part of our everyday language.
It's true. It's more than just entertainment. It's a cultural touchstone. It launched the careers of so many comedic talents, and it's held a mirror up to American society for 5 decades, good and bad.
And it's fascinating to think about how the show has evolved over time. What was considered edgy and hilarious 50 years ago might not land the same way today.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, some of those old sketches would definitely raise some eyebrows now, right?
Oh, absolutely. Comedy is always changing.
Yeah.
And SNL has always reflected the times. It's almost like a time capsule of cultural attitudes and humor.
Yeah. It makes looking back on those older episodes even more interesting, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. You can track those shifts in cultural sensibilities and humor just by watching how the show has evolved.
Exactly. But it also makes you wonder what SNL's staying power says about comedy itself. Why has this show endured for so long when others have just faded away?
That's a really good question. I think part of the answer is that the show's always been willing to adapt and reinvent itself.
You're right. They've had so many different cast members over the years, each with their own unique comedic style.
And that constant stream of fresh perspectives has helped the show stay relevant, connect with different generations of viewers. It's like this ongoing dialogue about what's funny and what resonates with audiences.
Plus, you can't forget about the power of live television. Just something about that anything can happen. Energy that makes SNL so unpredictable and exciting.
Oh, definitely. The live aspect adds a sense of risk and spontaneity that you just don't find in pre-recorded shows. And it's created some truly iconic moments. The flubs, the unexpected breaks in character. That's all part of the magic of SNL.
Exactly. Speaking of iconic moments, let's not forget about the show's impact on launching some of the biggest names in comedy. Eddie Murphy, Tina Fey, Will Ferrell, Amy Poehler. The list goes on and on.
It's incredible. It's like SNL has been this breeding ground for comedic talent, shaping the entire entertainment landscape.
It is. And it's really cool how even though these comedians have become so successful outside of SNL, they often come back to host or make cameos.
It really speaks to the show's legacy and the sense of community among the alumni. Like, they're all part of this exclusive club, and they're always welcome back.
That's a great way to put it. Now, as SNL turns 50, it's fascinating to think about what the next 50 years might hold. The comedic landscape is always changing, and with TikTok, streaming, and who knows what else is on the horizon, how will SNL continue to evolve?
Wow. That's the big question, isn't it? The key to SNL's future success. It's going to be their ability to keep adapting, finding new voices and fresh perspectives, staying true to the core values of satire, sketch comedy, and pushing boundaries while also embracing the ever-changing world of entertainment. That's going to be crucial.
Yeah, and let's not forget the music. Like we've been talking about, SNL has always been this platform for musical talent, both big stars and up-and-coming artists.
Yeah.
What do you think? Will we see even more groundbreaking collaborations and unexpected pairings in the future?
Oh, that's a great point. Will we see more artists using the SNL stage to launch their careers? Or make bold creative statements? Who knows? Only time will tell.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, SNL at 50. It's more than just an anniversary. It's a time to think about its incredible legacy and impact. It's a chance to celebrate the joy and creativity SNL has given us for half a century.
And before we get even deeper into the legacy of SNL and how it's impacted comedy, let's hear from you.
Yeah. We want to know what some of your favorite SNL moments are. Who are the cast members that made you laugh the hardest? Head over to our social media and tell us your thoughts. But okay, picking up where we left off, I think it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. Why does this anniversary matter so much? Why should we care about the 50th anniversary of a comedy show?
That's a great question. You know, it's about more than just the laughs. SNL has shaped our culture. It's launched so many comedic careers. It's held up a mirror to American society, the good and the bad. And it's given us so many catchphrases and characters that are just part of our everyday language.
You're right. It's way bigger than just a show. It's this cultural phenomenon that's influenced comedy, music, and even politics for half a century. I remember when Tina Fey's Sarah Palin impression was everywhere. It felt like everyone was quoting it. It even sparked conversations about satire and politics.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of how SNL goes beyond just entertainment and becomes part of the national conversation. It shows the power of laughter to bring us together, challenge our perspectives, and help us understand the world.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that even in today's crazy media landscape, a show like SNL can still grab everyone's attention. Now, speaking of changing times, I'm curious about your thoughts on how SNL's humor has aged. Some of those older sketches might not exactly work in today's world.
Oh, that's a tough one. Comedy's so subjective, and what one generation finds hilarious might seem outdated or even offensive to another.
That's true. Some of those old sketches would definitely raise some eyebrows today. But that's also what makes revisiting them so interesting. It's like a time capsule of cultural attitudes and humor.
Yeah, like a history lesson, but a funny one.
Exactly. And I think it's important to acknowledge that SNL has made mistakes over the years. There have been sketches that haven't aged well, jokes that missed the mark, and times when they weren't as sensitive and inclusive as they could have been.
Absolutely. No show is perfect, and SNL is no exception. But it's important to remember that the show has always been evolving, trying new things, and pushing boundaries. Sometimes that means making mistakes.
Yeah. The important thing is to learn from those mistakes, keep trying to do better, and be open to feedback and criticism. It's important for SNL to listen to its audience and be willing to change when needed.
Definitely. And I think that willingness to adapt and evolve is a big reason why SNL has lasted so long. They're not afraid to change with the times. We see that in the current cast, which is so diverse, both in terms of their backgrounds and comedic styles.
Yeah. And they're not afraid to tackle tough topics, use humor to talk about social issues, and challenge the way things are. I think that's what will keep SNL relevant for years to come. Its ability to reflect the world around us, make us laugh, and spark important conversations.
You're right. It's not just about the jokes. It's about the shared experience, the cultural commentary, and that feeling that we're all in on it together.
And let's not forget those moments of pure brilliance. The sketches that become instant classics, the catchphrases we all start using, and the characters that stay with us long after the show ends. Those moments really define SNL's legacy.
Speaking of legacies, this 50th anniversary is a chance to look back at how the show has changed and think about how it might keep shaping comedy. What do you think the next 50 years hold for Saturday Night Live?
That's the big question. Will it still be a cultural force? Will it adapt to the constantly changing media landscape? What new voices and comedic styles will we see?
Wow, those are all big questions. We don't have a crystal ball, but we can look at how the show has reinvented itself in the past and how it's always been able to tap into what's happening in the world. That gives me hope for the future.
I agree. And it's exciting to imagine how SNL might continue to surprise us, make us laugh, and challenge our perspectives in the years to come. But for now, let's just enjoy the ride.
Yes, let's celebrate the show's incredible journey and see what the future holds. Happy 50th, SNL.
Happy 50th. And to all our deep divers out there, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep laughing, It's kind of crazy how SNL has managed to stay relevant for so long. It's like they have this secret formula for knowing what makes us laugh, even as the world keeps changing.
It really is remarkable. And you know what I think? Part of that formula is their willingness to push the boundaries, to take risks, and to not shy away from those controversial topics.
Right. SNL has never been afraid to stir things up. And that's what keeps it interesting. It's what makes people want to talk about it the next day. But they haven't always gotten it right, have they? There have been times when the jokes just didn't land or even went too far.
Yeah, that's true. No show is perfect, right. And SNL has definitely made its share of mistakes, but I think what sets them apart is that they're willing to admit when they mess up and then learn from it. They're always evolving and trying to get better, and I really respect that.
Me too. And speaking of evolving, it's so interesting to see how their humor has changed over the years. Reflecting how our culture has changed and what we find funny now. It's like this comedic time capsule.
Absolutely. When I watch those old episodes, I'm like, whoa, there's no way they could get away with that joke today. But it reminds us that humor is a product of its time, and what was edgy or acceptable back then might not be now.
So true. But that makes those older sketches even more fascinating to watch, don't you think? They give us this glimpse into the past and how our sense of humor has changed.
Exactly. Comedy is always changing and adapting to our values and what we find funny. And that's what makes SNL so interesting to study. It's like this ongoing commentary on American culture, but through humor.
And it's amazing to think about all the talented people who have been on SNL. I mean, so many comedy legends got their start on that stage.
It really is like a comedy hall of famer. And it's even more impressive when you think about how many of them go on to have these huge careers in movies, TV, writing. They're everywhere.
I know. It's amazing. It really shows how good SNL is at training and developing comedic talent. And I think that's another reason why the show has lasted so long. They know how to find and nurture the best comedic talent. And they keep doing it year after year.
Yeah, that pipeline of talent is so important. It keeps the show fresh and relevant. It brings in new voices and perspectives, which is crucial for anything that wants to stay current.
You're so right. As we wrap up our deep dive into SNL's 50th anniversary, I'm really optimistic about the future of the show. It's clear that they're not just coasting on their past success, they're always evolving, pushing boundaries, and finding new ways to make us laugh.
I couldn't agree more. SNL has survived so many changes in our culture and the media, and it's still here, and it's still going strong. I have a feeling it's going to be making us laugh for years to come.
So to all our deep divers out there, as SNL starts this next chapter, we hope you keep watching, keep laughing, and keep appreciating the power of comedy to show us our world, challenge how we think, and bring us all together. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Saturday Night Live.